They did come back and win in overtime, came back to tie and win in that game against Kansas City, but they are not yet a confident team. They need to do something here.
And the defense will have to do without Billy Ray Smith, who is out with a groin injury. 2nd and 4. Marino goes deep, has a man, it's Duper. He's got it. 3-yard line.
Duper dropped the ball occasionally today, but you see here why he is so highly regarded. Just a little stutter step, freezes the defensive back momentarily, blows right on by him. That's Elvis Patterson now playing in that cornerback position. They picked on Bennett so much that they took him out of there finally. 51 yards, the longest of the year for Miami.
And Miami takes the timeout.
They must have been down close to that 30-second clock.
We'll go along with them at San Diego 28, Miami 24, and they threaten first and goal at the 3.
Loose, Miami maintains possession.
Marino steps in. Here comes the rush. There's the throw. It's caught this time inside the 30, down to the 25-yard line. That time, Mark Duper locked down the ball for a 33-yard gain.
And he gets out of bounds. Unusual, though, that in a 2-minute situation that you're going to allow a receiver to get down there on the sideline, Don. Bad coverage by the New England Patriots. No other way to look at it.
Well, they were taken apart last week by Tom Tupa, who came of age as a starting quarterback for the Phoenix Cardinals. But the big advantage Tupa had, the Patriot pass rush couldn't get to him. Cooper's first catch of the day, his 21st of the season. Jim Jensen is in again as Marino looks deep. He throws to the end zone. Touchdown, Clayton. Man, there's a lot of Dolphin fans up here.
25 yards on the reception. Clayton was wide open. Mickey Washington was the closest man in coverage, and it was not close enough.
The highest scoring combination in NFL history. Marino to Clayton, they've combined for a 68th time on a touchdown throw.
That was a great throw. Like Dan Marino has done throughout his career. That baby is up by his ear and gone in an instant.
His 6th touchdown throw of the season. Coming in the 6th game. Stoyanovich drills it up and good, and the Dolphins take the lead for the first time, 10-7, with 1:22 to play in the first half.
From behind the offense, again, good time for Dan Marino to throw the ball. He's looking downfield, wham, that baby is gone. Washington not fast enough to stay with Clayton. 25 yards and a score. Dan Marino's reaction? Yes.
They better get some security in the stands. We got a 5-alarm brawl breaking out. Here come the gendarmes.
Well, it took a while for this Miami pass offense to get going, and it took the prevent defense by the New England Patriots to open things up. But finally, now there's some friendly vibes between Don Shula and Dan Marino. I had a coach once, Don Shula, Paul Brown used to tell us as players, don't hold me accountable for anything I say on the sideline during the game. You get emotional, I get emotional. When the game's over, forget what I said. We go back to being what we were, coach and player.
Who can never forget what he said to Bob Trumpy after he caught his first touchdown pass as a rookie, and Trumpy celebrated wildly.
Act like you've been there.
The dynamic duos of the NFL pass-catch combinations over the years. The best one, Marino to Clayton from a TD standpoint. 68 touchdown throws they've combined on. Unitas to Raymond Berry, 2 Hall of Famers. 63 times.
I like the one Largent to Zorn to Largent. 2 free agents.
Yeah.
Not a bad combination.
Catching passes, and then we went back and saw him again Saturday, and he said, oh man, said, that shot has worn off. He said, my shoulder is killing me.
Yeah, he took himself out of the lineup. He knew he just wasn't going to be able to get the arm up to catch the ball. Second and about a football they need here. Hampton and Davenport in together. Marino will throw. Deep for Duper. To Mark Duper, and don't you love it on second and a football?
Well, you got to admire. They keep striking. Marino with 4 interceptions keeps firing away. That time, Case intercepted him earlier. He came back and said, here, in your eye, Case, here's one to Duper.
Little high stepping by Super Duper. Marino says, that's more like it. 23 games with at least one touchdown pass consecutively now for Dan Marino. SUAVE'S with a point after. 3:50 to play. Third quarter, the margin is now 3. And there is Mark Clayton on the left of your screen without the shoulder pads on, congratulating his partner on the other side, Mark Duper. Super Duper has the crowd alive here in the Orange Bowl.
Out of Natchitoches, Louisiana, Northwestern State University, my arch rival in college.
I knew you'd get that in.
He can roll from sideline to sideline.
Hey, anywhere you put him, he's going to play.
Oh, yeah.
He only knows one speed.
Third down and 16. No flag. Marino goes deep, has a man there.
Oh, what a throw!
Mark Duper.
What a throw!
38 yards.
What a laser beam Marino put on that, and then Duper heads up enough to get out of bounds. Sammy Seal in coverage here. He's looking back. Now he's got to turn around. Just look right there, and he looks back, and the ball is right on his arms. What a throw by Marino.
And it is a first down just outside of the 10-yard line. 3 minutes and 8 seconds time remaining. That was third down and 16.
Marino continues to amaze.
First and 10 from the 20. Complete! Brady Banks wanted a second try. He got it. This one of the 60-yard variety.
Here he is at the top of your screen, and this just take off and go. And this is against a zone-type coverage. You should never get deep against the zone. But it looks like Mark Lee takes a peek in the backfield, gives Duper a chance to, Banks a chance to get behind him. Big play.
The problem is, Henry Jones is not able to help either his cornerbacks, Kirby Jackson or Nate Odoms, and Clayton and Duper are wide open. At least they have been all night on a little quick out.
Dan, 10%, first down, 19-yard line. Steps into his left, throws wide open, touchdown, Layton.
Chalk that up to the athleticism of Dan Marino. He got out of the pocket. The secondary, I'm sure, thought he was going to be sacked. He skipped away from it. They blew the coverage. And Clayton was wide open, and Marino stayed on his feet.
It looked like a sack, Frank. You're right. I think that was Cornelius Bennett. Watch him come up the middle. Harry Galbraith is the right guard, and Marino gets dodging and moving around, and this is just
A total blow by the Buffalo secondary.
Well, Kirby Jackson was looking right into the secondary in that zone defense. Looked like Marino was going to go down. He let Clayton go by him. 6 points.
Stojanovic for the point after. Kick is good. Marino to Clayton. That's only the 78th time they've combined for a touchdown. The greatest pitch and catch combination in the history of the National Football League. Marino to Clayton. Touchdown reception of Mark Clayton's illustrious career. As we mentioned, the most productive pitch and catch combo in history. Marino's been on the throwing end 78 of those 80 times. 15 more than Unitas and Berry. And there's the rest of that star-studded list.
I think you're right.
You've also had a change defensively. They've taken Ferrier out of that defensive end position, and Hugh Douglas, 99, is in at defensive end. So now they're making the commitment to get a full four-man rush on Marino.
Miami still with one timeout remaining. The Jets have one. Marino on this drive, 5 of 7 for 54 yards.
Now I think if I'm Marino, I locate where Otis, my man, Smith is. Near side, who's the receiver, Brett Cannon. Now I look for Otis. Bottom of the screen.
A fade into the corner of the end zone. He's looking left. You're right. He's picked on him. He's in the end zone. Corner of the end zone. He's got it for the touchdown. Yeah!
I'm sorry, Otis.
Saw Marino do it last time, end of the second quarter. The title of this one, Shred 2.
78-yard touchdown drive in the closing moment of the first half. And on the extra point, the Dolphins regain the lead. They're up by 4, 14-10, and let's go back to Brett Perryman's first touchdown reception as a Dolphin.
Good protection. Marino knows exactly where he's going. Perryman, the newest Dolphin, over Otis Smith. And the score. Not a particularly great pattern, just a little shovel right by
Perfectly thrown over the outstretched hand for Smith. And Perryman trying to look good, trying to look pretty after that touchdown. There's a face plant into the wall. And why? The why he runs into the wall afterwards, full flat-out speed laid right on his hand.
Laces up, cradle in the hands. I mean, Reed Tagliabue on it, inflate to 13 pounds. Surprised you still got the energy to bang up against the wall.
Parcells' reaction. I was just thinking that some of the paparazzi in the corner have a great close-up of him.
Otis says, I don't mind the attention. Well,
that was good. The touchdown coming with 5 seconds left in the first half, and there's the scoring drive. It took a minute and 31 seconds.
And don't forget, this is the 9th touchdown pass, the 9th different receiver for Dan Marino in this offense this year. No one has more than one touchdown pass.
You caught your first glimpse of Marv Levy, his defensive unit, trying to stop Miami on a 3rd and 6, and Marino for Duper again. Look at that pass. Out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Just perfect. Yeah, that's about all I can add to that, too, is,
We watched him warm up. It's hard to believe.
Chris Hale was supposed to get help deep. He was supposed to get it from Mark Kelso. Kelso just had too far to go, and we saw Kelso against Green Bay having this problem. He does not have a lot of speed. He reads like an outfield. He's supposed to be over there helping Hale, and he doesn't get there, and that's perfectly thrown. You can be outmanned and outgunned, but as long as you have Marino, Duper, and Clayton, it's still fun football.
It's very close to intercepting the ball, but again, here comes this 3rd down package. It's 3rd and 9. They'll have 4 wide receivers and Jim Jensen.
And
The Dolphins have allowed the fewest in the NFL this season in the sack department. They've given up only 6. Rain is still falling here in Miami. Marino unleashes and has Clayton. A 66-yard reception from Mark Clayton.
He has so many weapons. Duper, Clayton, Andre Brown, with an arm like Dan Marino and good pass protection. That time it looked like Pittsburgh, Marv, was looking for just a short third down conversion pass about 10 yards deep. Clayton tricks him and goes 66.
7th touchdown of the season for Mark Clayton, who has come back last week, only 1 catch for 9 yards. He had missed curfew last Saturday night and was fined what was called an undetermined amount. And Mark Clayton getting right to it. So the Dolphins with a 13-0 lead. Stoyanovich will look to add the extra point. Dan Marino with his 18th touchdown pass of the season. And here's referee Jorgensen.
Number 63, offense, 5 yards. We'll try again.
Okay. Jeff Ulenek, the center, will try again, he says. 214th career touchdown for Dan Marino. Well, he has blown the record book away, hasn't he?
In fact, he has now moved into an 8th place tie on the all-time NFL touchdown pass list, tying a fellow by the name of John Brody.
No.
Yes.
John Brody.
All right, Stoyanovich from a bit deeper range, able to connect. Somewhere John Brody is on a golf course being told you have just been tied for 8th place. Is being looked at. X-rays are being taken as he took a hit early this first quarter.
Here's the touchdown again. Marino is locked on to Clayton just over the outstretched arms of David Johnson, and Clayton with great speed outruns Larry Griffin 66 yards. Now watch Marino when he gets hit. Just as he goes to get up, he does take a shot from Tim Johnson, but he wins it.
Third down.
Well, I guess he just implicates the whole side.
The whole gang's guilty. The whole right side. I think guys rather him say that than single out those numbers. So let's hide in a group of each other.
See, they never consulted the players on that before they changed, huh? To bring up a 3rd and 6 for Miami.
There's that right side. And a big one.
Jim Jensen, the lone back. Complete to Clayton. Touchdown, Miami.
Well, down in here you expect the man-to-man coverage, which they haven't been getting much of, but he gets it this time, and any time that you can get that guy right there, anytime you can get Clayton on number 24, Van Jakes, that's a matchup that you like. And that's the time that Marino's getting the coverage that he wants, and that's when you expect it. It's down around the 15, inside the 20-yard line, man-to-man.
And Stoyanovich makes it 17 Miami points. Now on top, 17-6. 4th place on the Dolphins' all-time touchdown list. Trailing now, Nat Moore.
Nat Moore, an exciting player in the Bob Greasy days. He caught an awful lot of passes, but that guy right there is an exciting player.
Snowflakes in Miami. Believe it or not. Well, actually, just Christmas decorations on one of the skyscrapers here in the Miami skyline. We are at the Orange Bowl. And the Dolphins at the 20-yard line. 2nd and 10 of Atlanta, down 20-7, 1:56 remaining. Tim Ryan and Terry Bradshaw watching Dan Marino trying to make miracles. Touchdown! Jensen. No flag. Well, Jensen has had his problems today, Terry. A couple of drops, a slip, a wrong route, but he came up here.
It's a zone pass read all the way by Marino, looking to his left. Notice his net look to the left. Now he turns around and just fires the football, throws the football in there. It goes right by Robert Moore's head. This is a route that they had run 3 times in a row, and they finally completed it.
SUAVE'S with a point after. So the Dolphins have provided some last-minute excitement. 1:50 still remains.
Still showing blitz. They picked it up from Marino. Over the middle, Jackson, touchdown! These are 2 heavyweight fighters just landing one knockout shot after another. These guys are throwing incredible footballs. They're going to go down by 5, but still 14-12 to go in the game. Big play by the defense, but a bigger play by Keith Jackson on the reception to the TD. Watch the right part of your screen. Danny does a nice job of catching the ball. Now he slides a little bit, looks outside. Watch it. Look at that. That was Cornelius Bennett in the middle that almost gets his hand on it. Keith Jackson, outside move, inside move. Here comes 97. Oh, I can't believe I missed it. Marino has so much confidence in his arm, always has. He will throw balls that you go, uh-oh, and then they zip right through. I'm sitting up here. I got confidence in his arm. We talked about the stars coming out for the Bills. Keith Jackson making a big play. Dan Marino making a big throw. Both Kelly and Marino with 3 touchdown passes tonight. 3 interceptions.
Thanks, Bob. Buffalo leading 3-0 over Miami. 10:52 left to go. On 2nd and 8, Marino, he's got his man. Darrell Edmonds with the catch. The flag goes down at the 45-yard line as he goes up to the 50, and he's brought down by Darrell Talley. We'll check out the flag. Crowd says it's against Buffalo.
Johnny Holland, fine linebacker for Green Bay, injured, and the report is he's not expected to return. Now he is expected to return. He's been bothered by a thigh problem, quadricep problem. So they say he probably will be back. 6 defensive backs in for Green Bay. Their backer defense. Marino firing complete to Clayton. Touchdown, Mark Clayton.
Watch Green Bay. They put 6 linebackers in, 5 defensive backs. Marino sends Stratford out of the backfield, number 97. Timmy Harris trying to cover man-to-man. Makes the mistake of going for the ball. He misses it. Dupa catches it, steps up inside, and they get a touchdown. Here's Harris trying to cover men. That's tough to do when you try to get a wide receiver who lined up in the backfield and come out of the backfield and play a man-to-man.
So SUAVE'S on to attempt another extra point, and it is perfect. And Miami all over Green Bay early. With 5:48 to go in the first, it's now 17-0.
And Bennett 34. They can play Jensen there, and they did get the first down.
That makes it a long day, especially when you're trying to establish your running game like the Dolphins are doing right now, to have 2 of your better ones on the bench.
They didn't even dress Ron Davenport today because of an ankle injury, so they are really beat up. Play action Marino. Longest pass he's thrown all day. To the 10, the 5. Touchdown Dolphins. kind of had to wonder what Danny was saving it for. He had not gone long all day long. And he finally gets Mark Clayton.
Mark Clayton is going to run a post pattern, just a slow post, and comes over the middle. The ball's put right on target, makes a fantastic move there, and just his individual effort gets him in there. What set that up was Duper on the opposite side of the football field. He cleared out for Clayton, ran straight down the field. Clayton comes over the middle for the touchdown.
And Revees will attempt the extra point. Don Strock to hold, the backup quarterback. The kick by Revees is up and perfect. 11:56 to go, third quarter, and that is the Dolphin offense. Maybe I
really giving away on him. Jabbar trying to make a cut. He went down there. Second down and 11. Parmalee late in getting in. Gets the call from Marino. And on second and 11, Marino slings it to the wide open Drayton. Touchdown, Miami. Ooh. We don't have to mention the word mistake.
Well, Dan Marino didn't miss the open guy.
What in the world?
Well, it's quite simple. Two Buffalo defenders locked up on the back out of the backfield. Needless to say, one of them had Troy Drayton. Bernie Parmalee comes out of the backfield. Both Bryce Pop and Henry Jones lock up on him, and nobody goes with Troy Drayton.
You would hate to point the finger from up here because no way of telling, but earlier Bryce Pop was given that assignment. We talked about how difficult it was for him in that kind of a coverage.
Yep, and that play concludes with Pop and Jones looking at each other, trying to figure out who goofed.
I've got to know.
I've got to know.
Try to pass ball. Obviously, they don't complete the pass. Now they have to punt. After the punt, Miami has the ball on their own 33. Now, that's not the full position game that Dick McPherson, the head coach, wanted to play. He wanted to move those chains, move the ball at least 20, 30 yards before he had to punt, and keep Dan Marino away from that goal line. At 40 yards, Marino could smell it.
Now, Marino was held without a touchdown pass for the first time in 14 regular season games last week. He already had one to Steve Jackson and Mark Clayton, and he's now going for Mark Duper. So he's got all of his weapons for touchdown passes today. 43 yards, Marino to Duper, and just like that, it's 23-10 Miami, could be 24.
I said he could smell it. Apparently, Mark Duper could smell it first. Duper out on the left. The same exact play. They make that move, dive play, got the safety. Robinson up on there at the line of scrimmage. Obviously, Duper running away from the single coverage for the post pattern.
Maurice First was on the coverage. First was the Patriot who dropped an interception for sure last week that could have given the Patriots a new life against the 49ers, but Duper with another touchdown catch. Stoyanovich, and they're trying to make it 24-10 Miami.
Once again, who are you going to double?
13:37 left. Third quarter, Miami up 24-10.
Just a gorgeous 68-degree day here in New England. Window could be a factor. Northwest winds 20 to 25 miles per hour. Always a very difficult stadium.
That place to throw into.
Miami starting out from their 32-yard line. Dolphins with a 3-0 lead. That's a timing pattern. Irving Fryar going all the way. Fryar beating the free safety, Myron Guyton. It was a foot race, and Fryar, the one-time Patriot, takes it 67 yards for the touchdown.
What in the world do they have Myron Guyton on Irving Fryar? This just has to be a complete screw-up on the part of the Patriots. An out and up route by Irving Fryar, similar really to the play that Michael Jackson beat this defense on last season, and I promise you, Myron Guyton is not going to catch Irving Fryar.
Now here's Stoyanovich for the extra point. Marino and Fryar hooking up 67-yard touchdown pass play, and now the Dolphins with a 10-0 lead. 2:40 to go in this opening quarter.
The Patriots come with a corner blitz. Dan Marino reads it. That forces Myron Guyton into coverage, and there is no chance. Blitzing Dan Marino is a little like going to see Dr. Kevorkian for a head cold. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Easy touchdown.
What a fine comparison.
And then he lets Maurice Hurst know about it as well. Said, don't be trying that one again. I saw you do.
The Dolphins. And look at the rushing yards. It should be the other way around. It always has been, but not tonight. Clayton. Is it a touchdown? It is. What a catch.
Well, Dan Marino's going to look upfield first and then back down. Maurice Hurst's outside. Fred Marion inside. He just splits him. Nobody really gets a hand on him. Look at this catch. Look at this. Brings it in, protects himself, gets the hand underneath the ball so it doesn't come out, shows the referee I got it. What a great catch.
The 9th touchdown catch of the season for Mark Clayton out of Louisville.
Well, the replay booth is going to take a look at it, and they're going to see the same thing that you are.
Oh.
There you see his hand under the ball. See how he tucks it in, and watch. See the forearm hits the ground first. That is, the thing is was contact made on the 1-yard line, or did he get into the end zone before he made contact with the defensive back?
From the original angle, it didn't look like he was touched at all. From that angle, it looked like he may have been, but I think the first angle is the better one.
Here's the reverse angle. Now watch, it's not a question whether it's a catch. Is contact made? Yeah, that ball should be down on the 2-yard line. You see him push him on the back? He's down. This will not be a touchdown.
At least it shouldn't be.
The reversal, after we review the replay, it was determined that it was touched on a 1-yard line. 1-yard line, first and goal.
That is what instant replay is for, and that's why I think it's a good idea.
Well, Don Shula and I had a long conversation yesterday about it, or Friday about it, and he is a supporter of it. He's on the competition committee. He likes it because he wants the game to be fair and let the athletes determine. And there you see Hurst's hand on the back of Clayton, and so he's down.
As Sammy Smith got to the line of scrimmage and no more, so Clayton loses the touchdown, but still an exceptional catch.
There's a guy who told me on Friday, he said, I'm more quick than fast.
Yeah.
I'm got a hard time believing that. He ran by Marion once. He ran by Hurst this time. I think fast is not a bad description either.
And the tight end just couldn't handle him.
2nd down and 9, they give him 1 yard on that carry. Giesler's in there. He was activated after being injured. So this is his first game back as he starts in there at the left tackle. He did not start the game. Marino back. Down, wide open, Pruitt, touchdown! He beats Burrows, and the Dolphins score again.
Jimmy, you're right. Pruitt does beat Burrows, but you got to look where this ball is thrown. Now watch Marino. How much can you say about the man? Look where the ball lands. You can't catch this one. Just leave the uniform and go on home. He put that ball out where Burrows had no chance whatsoever to catch the ball. The only guy that can catch it is Pruitt, and he did.
He is 2 for 2. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, 2 touchdown passes. That one covering 25 yards. SUAVE'S will come in now to try and tack on the second extra point. It's good. Dolphins lead by a score of 14-0.
Burrows is sitting here one-on-one on the outside, and there's Kelso, 38, the safety. He can't get there. The blocking is beautiful up front for the Dolphins, and then Marino just airs it out. Take a look at Pruitt. No chance for Burrows. We'll be back. Miami 14, Buffalo nothing.
17-0.
Greg Cook with the mistake, and it's unusual. He is a veteran, a free agent picked up
by the Dolphins from the Packers, but the entire Charger left side of their defense was coming that time. Got a little nervous in there, Jay. A little happy feet before the snap.
Terry Unrein, number 98, back in for the Chargers. He was shaken up a moment ago.
Marino changing the play, the line of scrimmage. It's trouble to do that. We're in a shotgun.
Marino down the middle. Oh, it's a beautiful play indeed. What a score that is. As that man right there has to be pleased with what Marino did. Mark Clayton caught it after Marino changes the play at the line of scrimmage.
This is a big play by Marino, figuring out the line of scrimmage. He talks to his receivers by stepping up to the line of scrimmage. And when you've got man-to-man coverage and you're Mark Clayton against anybody, it really doesn't matter, because Kevin Wyatt was just left in the dust by him. He's got that movement that's tough for a defensive back.
Wyatt, a draft choice of the Dolphins, who came over here a couple of weeks ago.
Right, he's seen Clayton moves many times in practice before.
That was SUAVE'S kicking the extra point. 22-yard touchdown reception by Clayton. And we have 12 minutes left to go in the first half. Marino, this is what you get when you pay $9 million.
Yeah, this is a $9 million throw, that's for certain. The problem with the shotgun is that it's difficult to audible change the play at the line of scrimmage. You see him doing it there two ways, both with his voice and with his arms, telling his wide receiver what he wants them to do. He gets a man-to-man coverage against Wyatt, number 30, with Clayton, number 83, in the slot. And Mr. Wyatt, fifth-round choice of the Dolphins just this past year, finds out why he was cut.
Actually, I think misuse of timeouts and people not getting out of bounds cost Denver the game earlier tonight.
Seen a lot of that this year. 2nd and 12. Marino with time. Clayton! Touchdown! For the second time tonight, David Poole victimized by Clayton and Marino. There's Poole trying to cover him. Little shake move. Clayton just goes up top. Now we've seen Dan Marino fire the ball and fire the ball. There was a case of just a beautiful touch, laying it over the defensive man's head. He has just passed Stanley Morgan for number 14 on the NFL's all-time list. Stoyanovich to make it a touchdown lead again, and does. With 1:47 left, Miami has scored to lead New England, 27-20. And they made it look easy, Joe.
It really did. You know, Clayton is so quick off the ball. He's one of those smaller receivers. Watch this. There's no help back here. He shakes right there, goes right by Poole. Marino just lays it up. He has no help, gets in bad footwork position. You cannot take 3 steps backwards with your shoulders square to the wide receiver and hope to stay with him.
Dick McPherson hoping to win his 4th game, now on the verge of losing his 7th.
Tonight is Johnny Greer. Bill Belichick, the former Giant assistant, now in his 2nd year as the head man with the Browns.
Again, they go to the left side, though. We may be seeing a trend for the Dolphins early, working behind what is the strength of their offensive line. Richmond, Webb, Sims, Ulenik at center. And that's a nice way to start a ball game.
And that clock should be ticking.
Yep.
It's down to 8:50 remaining in the first quarter, and Marino going for the end zone. Super touchdown! Well, if you were wondering whether they would be sharp or rusty after an 18-day layoff, that's a pretty emphatic answer, offensively anyway.
Randy Hilliard got tied up man for man with Mark Duper. Duper on a little bit of a fly with a little juke right in the middle of it. Look at the top of your screen as Duper takes it down, gives it a little hesitation, spins off from Hilliard, and Marino, what can you say? It's a perfectly thrown football. Not that bad a coverage when you're down that close, when you're working in the red zone, but Marino was right on the money.
Pete Stoyanovich, Mitchell to hold. That drive, 6 minutes, 15 seconds. That's the 49th touchdown catch for Duper from
Marino and the 53rd overall in his career. Quickly, 7-0 Miami.
Frame it and hang it on the wall. Marino to Duper. Pretty as a picture.
Around that really know how hard that is to do, but you're sitting next to one of them.
It's a 2nd and 1. They changed the spot on that last run by Higgs, short of the first down as we get underway in the second quarter. And Marino popping one deep. Touchdown! Dan Marino and Mark Duper combining. So Dan Marino, who had gone 2 games without a touchdown throw, gets off the schneid.
Well, he's got Duper against Brim this time now. Don Shula's the kind of coach, when he sees someone come in the game, it goes back to the old theory. Coach Landry used to do it. Shula does it. You bring a substitute in the game, they're going to check that guy out. And they've done it pretty well so far. They match up Duper there, and that was really an easy touchdown for the Dolphins.
Stoyanovich could attempt the extra point. Marino now 7 for 11, 100 yards. So the Dolphins have taken a 10-7 lead on the Jets in the opening seconds of the second.
And they're going to go for it on 4th down, Don.
Half 2.
1:34 to play. First half.
Look at that in the second quarter. 0 for 9 Marino is.
A lot of that's with people running patterns, though. Going for it all. Man is open in the end zone. Touchdown Miami. Banks with his 2nd of the day. Fred Banks on a fly. Takes it down the far sideline. 2 strides on the D. And a 37-yard touchdown hit from Marino.
He beat James Hasty. What a gutty call. 4th down and 10, and they go for the distance. Obviously, the Jets defensive backs, linebackers, figure they're going to run 10-yard patterns. Marino's with Banks all the way. No question whatsoever. He never looks away. They're picking on Hasty, and Banks makes a great catch after a wonderful throw. And the Dolphins are in this game.
They sure are. The extra point is up and good. A hook shot by Reves, but it's good. And with 1:28 to play in the first half, the Dolphins are back in it as Banks has 2 TD receptions. Be back at the Meadowlands where Miami just hit on this big play. Marino lofting a perfect throw to Fred Banks. 37 yards into the end zone.
No move. Absolutely no move. Freddie Banks just runs up the field. 37 yards later, he catches it in the end zone. Hasty just let him go by.
Freddie is from Liberty College. Not many guys can say that. None other than the NFL.
I like his percentage here on catches. Designated touchdown catcher, Freddie Banks.
What kind of numbers?
Left side. 2nd and 9 at the 16-yard line. 8.5 to go in regulation. Marino for the end zone. Clayton again.
And again. What a great shot of that.
Well, it was Eric Thomas early, and now it's Wayne Haddock's late. And it's every time these guys connect, another record. Both of them pick up a record on that one. Marino's 20th touchdown pass. And Haddock was the victim. Because what a great throw by Marino. And it's really pretty decent coverage by Wayne Haddock. I mean, it just has to be absolutely a perfect throw, and of course it was. "73 times that combination has clicked. Twice tonight. Stoyanovich boots it through. And the Dolphins on their way to making it 3 straight, 5 of 6, and on their way to the playoffs. Not officially, but they are very much in the driver's seat for that last spot in the American Football Conference. Clayton tonight, well, he's been outshined by Duper in terms of receptions and yardage, but he scored twice. team records for touchdowns and receiving TDs. Again, his only other touchdown was a punt return his rookie season.
And you could see him flip that football to the equipment manager, saying,
hang on to that.
Hang that one out for me, put it in the old bag, and I'll have it painted up, and that'll find its way to one of my mantles sooner or later.
Yeah,
First possession of the second half for Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins. 9 times on first down, they've handed the ball to Sammy Smith. This time, Marino will pass. Under pressure, he goes deep. Gathered in by Clayton. And he'll score. .78 yards on the bomb from Marino to Clayton.
Well, the Dolphins have tried Hasty's side. This time they go over to the cornerback side of Bobby Humphrey. And I tell you, that bomb sure did quiet this crowd down. We had some life going here. These fans are excited, but they're awful quiet now.
Stoyanovich for the extra point, and he bangs it through. So the Miami Dolphins now have scored on their last 3 possessions.
And who's to say that running on first down didn't help out this pass protection? Marino puts the ball right on target. Number 48, Bobby Humphrey's in pretty good shape, but the pass is just excellent right there.
Clayton with his 4th catch for 125 yards and that touchdown. Here's how he beat Bobby Humphrey.
Well, he's just going to separate right now. He's gone. He's not going to put any moves on him. He left Humphrey at the line of scrimmage, and then Marino's right there with the pass. Similar to a route that Clayton ran earlier on Hasty, but Hasty was able to keep with him stride for stride.
So the Miami Dolphins with a quick strike on the first play from scrimmage for them in the 3rd quarter. Clayton bundles up, but he's got to be plenty warm now after that 78-yard reception, his 4th of the afternoon. Shula knew it was just a matter of time before his quarterback Marino got it cranked up, and as we pointed out at the beginning of the telecast, Marino has had his biggest days as a pro against the Jets. That is another touchdown pass against New York. He has passed for over 3,600 yards against the Jets, more than any other team he has faced. There's Marino. 221 yards for him today. 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Cornerback. Marino has completed 9 of 10 for 83 yards and a touchdown, but he hadn't had the ball enough. It's Wobbly and all alone. It's Mark Duper. Duper blazing down the sideline. 74 yards. Miami back in front.
This was just a busted assignment. Here you see Duper up at the top. He's just going to come straight down the field, and the coverage is going to allow him to catch the ball there. And here we go. Let's take a look at it. He runs by the cornerback. The other man goes to the middle of the field. Busted coverage. And there's nobody going to catch Duper now.
Duper, who can, as you see, fly, has 4 receptions, 115 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And remember Bob Creasy's quote, opening day, bombs away. All right, Bob. Livermont Shaman adds the point after. Miami regains the lead. 2:06 left to go in the first half.
Matt Moore, a great veteran for the Dolphins, has played many times in situations, many hot games. The Dolphins will be rotating their wide receivers, as will the Patriots, rotating a lot of their people. But Matt Moore had an opportunity to play last year when Cephalo was injured. 39 catches, 6 touchdowns, and it's always come up with big catches for the Dolphins. 1st and 10 to go at the Patriots 38. Marino hustles out of there, throws, and it is a touchdown for Clayton. Well, a
careless throw as Marino put it on consignment to the second-year man from Louisville. Mark Clayton will be coming from the left of your screen. He runs a deep corner pattern. Wide open. Marino has the strength to get it out there before the safety Stanford gets to him. I'll tell you what, Jay, the two wide receivers for the Dolphins, Cooper and Clayton, both young, both second-year players, really add some zip to the passing game. Of course, Marino's has a little bit to do with it also.
And he sure threw that one very well. He saw his man and came through. The point after, Uwe von Schumann couldn't get through from the hold of Don Strock. Miami's back in the lead early in the third quarter, 14-7. Football.
4-yard loss, so Marino out of the shotgun. Jim Jensen into the game in the backfield with him. Marino sidestepping, pressure goes long, hands Duper, complete to the 32-yard line.
Now, how Marino got that done? Duper broke the coverage. Duper's going to release up the field, and now you see the zone coverage slow down and stop. He runs it out and up, but how Marino got him that ball, because he had all kind of heat on him, and this is vintage Dan Marino. Now Richmond Webb's going to do his job on Jones. Fine job of shoving him past, using those 39-inch reaches, but now Dan Marino, how he saw that so late, and that's why he's one of the great all-time quarterbacks.
The line coach, Dan Sikonovich, used to coach him with the Jets. He said, there's not much about me he doesn't know. Draw. No. Way flicker again. Long ball. Man is open. Will it go? It does. Miami touchdown. Mark Clayton. The defender never saw the ball. It was a low thrown ball. Mark Clayton saw it all the way, and Marino is on target with a 31-yard touchdown strike.
Man, is that a big play by the Miami Dolphins. Bobby Humphrey was the man in coverage. Interesting call. They faked the draw. The second time they've run the play. The last time they tried to hit Clayton on the crossing pattern, and it was almost intercepted. Now watch this. See, they're really tricking him. And he goes right by Bobby Humphrey. And you're right, this ball is thrown low. Underneath Humphrey's arm, Clayton makes the catch. And the Jets, as poorly as they played, trail by 4, soon to be 3.
Dolphins get the extra point, and they are now down by 3, 24-21, with 11:13 to play, third quarter. So Mark Clayton makes the touchdown reception, his 8th of this season.
About 31 yards on that punt. Miami first down from the 31. Marino in trouble, able to get it away sideline. Mark Cooper. Touchdown pass from Marino to Duper. For Marino, his longest touchdown pass of the season. And the Dolphins pulled within 1. But let's see how they handle this point after.
Marino just steps away from an arm rushing Jet. And I mean, he laid that ball out right into Duper's hands.
Ulenek snapping. Sequential the holder. They did not succeed on their last attempt. This time, Stoyanovich puts it through. And the Dolphins have come back from a 13-0 deficit. The game is tied at 13. Only his first touchdown of the season. He has had a couple of off seasons. In fact, only 2 touchdowns the last 2 years, looking to bounce back. And he hooked up with Marino on a 69-yarder. The game is tied at first. Mathis on that return. Terrence Mathis stopped by Jarvis Williams. Gets it out to the 37-yard line where the Jets take over.
Well, the first of the beginning of this play is where Marino steps away from Gerald Nichols. Watch 77. He just pushes him aside. And then he's got enough presence of mind. You talk about a gun. You know, people in Pittsburgh told us that Mark Duper lost some speed. Watch this. You think he lost any? Watch him go by James Hastings. I mean, he flies by, and that ball is right on target.
First down, Miami. No score. Under 5:40 left in the opening quarter. Marino, O'Neal can't get him. And a great throw over the middle to Irving Fryer, who had a career year with Miami this season with 73 catches, 17 yards on that play.
Dick, watch one of the greatest attributes that Dan Marino has. He avoids that first rusher. Yeah, you see, Leslie O'Neal comes from the outside, just takes that little hop up, always looking down the field for a receiver. O'Neal makes a good move, but Marino gets himself out of the way of jeopardy there and still makes the completion.
122nd and last player taken in the draft. Patriots taking him with a pick they got from Dallas Cowboys in the Hugh Millen deal. And because of his distinction as the last player taken in the draft, Moore was taken to San Clemente, California for a big celebration. Happens to one player every year. On 3rd and 15, Marino looking deep and he's got him in. Touchdown! Irving Fryer. Flags down. Back at the line. Look at Irving Fryer getting loose for the TD.
But what happens here is Maurice Hurst, because of all the time he's buying right here, he's just hesitating. Nothing's happening. Now he stops, and he stops with him, but the ball is thrown completely over his head. Hurst has no idea. He never looks back, and that enables Marino to throw the long touchdown to Fryer. Take a look in the middle. Number 69 is who you're looking for. Number 69, Keith Sims, right there. Now he's laying on top of him with his knee. You can see his knee right there on his neck. The ball is long thrown. My guess is at that point, that's when Jones retaliates. Marino turns to look at it. You can see clearly, good call by Gordon McCarter because the fight occurred long after the ball was thrown. Touchdown was good. Good job by the officials.
In the offensive backfield, prior to the snap there, so there's no play. Still second down.
Well, they just gave him the holding penalty back with 2 offside calls. Back once we came. 2nd and 10.
Oh, Marv was right. That would have happened. If he declined that, it would have been first down.
Dan Marino pointing out the potential blitzer. Marino. Beautiful pass to Super. First and goal.
Boy, that's why they're dusting off the pedestal in Canton, Ohio.
Boy, that is sweet.
Single coverage. The blitz was on with Buffalo. Marino danced out of trouble. We've seen him do it twice tonight. Not the most athletic you're going to find, but there is Duper. That's single coverage.
Keep in mind, this throw.
Fine defensive play there by Patrick Hunter was right on top of him.
Second time today for Miami inside the red zone. They only had 3 on their first drive. Now they're looking at 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line with 4 wide receivers setting up. Jensen in the backfield flanking Marino. Marino with time. Now the pressure comes from Jacob Green. He's got a receiver. Touchdown Dolphins and James Pruitt.
Dan Marino made this play possible. He had pressure coming from the right side. He stayed alive, stepped back inside, and fired the ball to James Pruitt. But Marino staying alive enabled Pruitt to come open. Just a great play, fine throw.
Stoyanovich gets the extra point. He is 30 of 30 in that department. A perfect one for Marino and the Dolphins as they tie it at 10. He certainly isn't the most mobile quarterback in the NFL, but he did an outstanding job that time of buying time, eluding Jacob Green. And an extra second or two helped him find James Pruitt in the back of the end zone.
Marino. Just great patience here. He's looking down in the end zone. He gets pressure here from Jacob Green, number 79. Steps back inside, knows he's going to get hit after he delivers his ball, and puts a strike right to Pruitt at the back of the end zone. Another look at it. Watch Marino work. Feels the pressure from Jacob Green. Now, he knows he's going to get hit by Woods just as he lets the ball go. Boy, he gets tagged, keeps his head up, and watches Pruitt catch that ball in the end zone.
Yeah, those are the kinds of games you win if you're going to go on into the playoffs with hopes of the Super Bowl dream being realized. And, of course, the Super Bowl in January will be played right here at Joe Robbie Stadium. Downfield, a touchdown, Mark Clayton. Marino to Clayton, 45 yards. Mark Clayton, who is playing with a very sore right thumb. He dislocated it 2 weeks ago, and even yesterday in practice, catching everything left-handed, throwing left-handed. He may be one of the best athletes in the entire NFL. I mean, I think if you named a sport, gave him a couple of weeks, he would be outstanding at it. And you could see him favoring that sore right hand as he made the reception. Beautifully thrown ball by Marino. Tony Franklin, the new kicker for Fuad Reves, who's on the injured list, adds the extra point, and it's 7-3 Miami. Here's Clayton as, again, he works on the rookie, James Hasty. A little stutter step, and then he turns it on, and just over the fingertips of Hasty, and Clayton scores for Miami 7-3 with a timeout. Did get a piece of zone.
Let's go back and look at that beautiful bomb thrown by Marino. Just a little bit of play action to freeze people, and notice how perfectly thrown that ball has to be, splitting the two defenders. And of course, Clayton thrilled to waltz into the end zone. I asked him about that haircut, kind of off to one side. I said, "Where did you get that haircut?" He said, "I went to sleep in the chair."
His hands on Marino passes, and both with a chance to intercept him and perhaps go all the way.
Third down conversions, 3 of 5 for Miami. Third down and 16.
This is what Marino job that is. Has to work as hard in the week and knows that he's not going to get a chance to play.
Yeah, but he does get to wear that outfit.
He gets to wear those striped pants. That's his reward, huh?
Third and 16. Marino! Is it caught and held? Yes!
Yes.
Super, his first touchdown of the season.
Questioning whether Duper actually controlled the football. Look at Hanford Dixon right on top of him. Bounces the ball. They are yes, but Duper did have control of the football in the end zone, and he gets the touchdown as a result of it. And look at that play. The Browns play an awful lot of man-to-man. There's the matchup right there. That's Dixon on the receiver, Duper, and watch the great protection in the inside as Marino has time to look downfield, to wait, gets the pass in. Let it just go a little bit further. You'll see that ball bouncing out of Duper's hands. There it is. Ball bouncing cleanly out, controlling with one hand. Another angle on that is you watch Duper bounce it away and just hook it.
He has the quickest delivery in the history of the game. No one can throw the ball like Dan Marino. Truly the greatest passer of all time.
He's the best forward passer in the history of the game.
Greatness is difficult to quantify. It's a sense, a feeling. When you watched Dan Marino throw a football, you knew you were witness to something extraordinary. You had never seen anything like it before.
Dan Marino is a phenomenon. There just haven't been men like him.
Dan Marino was as close to a perfect passer as I've ever seen. You just get mesmerized. The way he threw the ball was an art form. It was just a thing of beauty.
I've always just been in awe of the way that he was able to throw the ball so quickly with such velocity. Nobody else has ever been able to duplicate the way that he actually throws the ball.
You need arm strength. The distance is overrated. Arm strength is important. You have to throw with velocity and accuracy, or you're never going to have a chance.
He can throw the ball between defenders better than anyone I've ever seen, and he'll try to do it. He is aggressive.
And he did a lot of it on pure instinct. He just played football, almost like it was on the playground. In fact, once he and I were exchanging, I said, well, now what are you looking at when the ball snapped? What are you looking at on your first read? When do you look to your alternate receiver? He says, look, I just look for the open man, and I'm going to hit him.
He really never was, I would consider, like a student of the game, where he can go up and diagram the X's and O's on the board and draw coverage and tell you where everyone's going to be. But when it got game time and the ball got in his hands, he could see where everybody was. I really think he was the only guy I've ever been around that could really see from sideline to sideline. So the one thing that I believe set him aside was the ability to visualize where his people were going to be and see the coverage.
Dan Marino had tremendous peripheral vision. He just was tremendous in picking out the one-on-one situation and knowing where the weakness in the coverage was and attacking that weakness. A lot of people don't give Dan credit for making the quick decisions. And he did that, and then, of course, when he made the quick decision, that release just exploded. That didn't take long for the ball to get there.
In the National Football League, the objective for the quarterback is to find the receiver who's matched man-to-man against a single defender. It's simple in theory, complex in execution. Marino intuitively recognized those individual matchups and exploited them with his quick arm and uncanny accuracy.
This is the man with the quickest release in the history of the game, and he had a rhythm to what he did. If we'll watch his drop, bounce, you see that ball is part of the drop, working with his hands on either side, bounce, throw. It's perfect timing of the throw and perfect mechanics. And he throws it with such ease, the defenders don't get any kind of a jump on it. Plus that, he's a little quicker on his feet than you'd think. Here's an example, avoiding to the left. Very difficult, avoiding to the left, getting back in a right-handed stance again. You see, he's back into a throwing position. So if you do open your left shoulder to avoid somebody, get your right hip back again, then you can deliver that ball with force. And it's a perfectly thrown ball.
In an era when mobility was assigned paramount importance at the quarterback position, Marino was always defined as a pocket passer. The label was unfairly restrictive and confining, for it failed to account for the most essential element of Marino's game, his great footwork and balance. No quarterback moved as well within the pocket.
You have to have great feet. You're saying that maybe I can't beat someone in a foot race, but as far as quickness and making people miss in the pocket and moving and creating things on your own, you have to do that. And to do that, you have to be a good athlete.
Once he got back into the pocket, he had the ability to move. Those quick feet moved around. He found the passing lane, and that enabled him to get away from the rush and get the ball off before the rush got there.
My movement in the pocket, I've always thought that I was very good at that, and being able to create within a small space, make people miss, and still be able to get off a good throw and make plays.
Dan Marino had great feet. The quickness to move from the rush, the quickness to find the opening to throw to, and also to take it one step further, he also had the balance. Dan had that ability in almost any situation under duress to set his feet properly, get in a good position to throw the football. That's the quickness of feet that Dan had, to make plays with his feet by setting himself up to throw the football.
The bottom line was simply this. If you wanted to see how quarterback should be played in its purest, most elemental form, you watched Dan Marino, the best passer the game has ever seen.